one of the things I did want to mention is last Thursday the City Council had an emergency meeting due to some reduction in state share revenue that the city received notice of last week. And I want to let the residents know that we're continuing to work through those budget cut ideas and solutions. Okay. The City of Laramie lost $500,000 that we were expecting in revenue. That's going to affect this year's current fiscal year budget. And so the City Council is going to have to look at ways to cut $500,000 out of this year's budget. There were a lot of ideas that we talked about that the City Manager brought up on Thursday. Some of those will result in reduction of services to the citizens, but we haven't made any final decision, and we're still...
Are there places that we're looking at that we need to be aware of in terms of some of the discussion?
Sure. We're looking at a lot of positions not being filled in our streets departments and trying to pull back that way. That'll affect potentially plowing, street, like cleaning out the storm drains, things along those lines. There is zero capital infrastructure dollars for street improvements in the City of Laramie's budget. And with this cut coming forward, that's obviously not going to get any better the next year. In addition, we talked about holding off and pulling out the Scout Park playground improvements that were supposed to be done. That's a project that the City of Laramie's been working on and saving for and moving forward for about 10 years now.
Wow.
And so we could potentially put that on hold. And there were a few other projects that are being discussed about either pushing them off, like the aquifer monitoring wells, for a year, or trying to alternatively fund those in some way. But like I said, the conversation is ongoing, and we'll probably talk about it again in 2 weeks at our second council meeting in September.
All right, so something to be aware of if you are a citizen just got hit with that reduction in $500,000. There's nothing to sneeze at for this city right now, considering we were already in a budget crunch.
Absolutely. This really just compounded problems. The city staff and city manager and council worked really hard on the last budget to try to make sure that we were making cuts with our reduction in funding from the state, which was about 43% already, and trying to make those cuts in a way that didn't impact services that residents expect and need. And this is just one more thing, and there's so little left that it's almost impossible to make any additional cuts without citizens noticing further reductions in service. Customer service hours aren't there, or the staff isn't there. That's going to be a big thing. If there's 8 more positions that we don't fill in the city that are currently vacant, that's a lot less people to do jobs for the citizens of Laramie. So,
well, I gotta ask you, because I know it's going to come up. What about taking pay cuts?
I think that is, people always ask about that. I don't know that that's on the table right now. One of the things that's important to do in any environment, even in a budget cut environment, we're asking our staff to do considerably more than they ever have, and we need to try to take care of them if we can. So maybe the option is to not fill one of those positions rather than take pay cuts. But ultimately, all of those decisions and recommendations are left to the city manager.